YouTube, this is your boy SpearDude21, and today I'm just gonna be giving quite a bit of reasons why I love Demi Lovato and am a big fan of her, and why she's a huge inspiration to millions of people. Not only Demi is a great singer, but she's also a very great person as well. The thing I really respect about Demi is that she uses her platform for good. She always spreads love and positivity to her fans and the world. And that's one of the many reasons why she's loved and respected by millions of people. I also just found out yesterday that Demi launched a mental health fund for the people who are struggling with this coronavirus pandemic. And Demi said this about the mental health fund. So many people have been left alone with their thoughts, their anxieties, their abusers, and are struggling with the uncertainty of these times. Now that right there is some very true shit, man. And then she continued her statement by saying, "That is why I am helping to launch the Mental Health Fund to support organizations who are meeting the increased demand in crisis counseling due to COVID-19. You are not alone. Help is fast, free, and available 24/7. Exactly, bro. I'm very glad that Demi is doing all of this. She's making the world a better place and is making people's lives a lot better by doing this. In case y'all don't know what this mental health fund that Demi is doing is all about, I'll just educate y'all about it right now. So, it's an initiative that will donate to organizations specializing in crisis counseling via text messaging. And so far, the initiative has raised over $2.5 million. He also said this about the mental health fund. "It's so important that people have these lines because sometimes you feel really alone and you don't know where to turn or who to talk to. You're afraid that these thoughts you're having are too dark and you need guidance. That's where this comes in. It can provide help to people who are struggling. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Oftentimes, our society tells us that if we ask for help, we are weak. But the strongest thing someone can do is take that first step in getting help, whatever shape or form that is." She spoke lots of true shit when she said that. Asking for help for serious problems you have is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And anybody who says it's a sign of weakness is a complete dumbass who doesn't know what the hell they're talking about. Demi has previously spoken constantly about her own mental health struggles. She's never been shy about getting personal about her own mental health, including confronting an eating disorder and her struggles with her past drug addiction. She's also spoken about how the pressures as a child Disney star led her to neglect her own mental health. "I do feel that a lot of the way some of my life was handled and lived led to me kind of having a bit of a downfall. Just because I was so overworked and I wasn't dedicating enough time to my mental health or my personal life." She also talked about all the support and love that she received after her drug overdose back in 2018, and she said this about it. "It's hard when you're in a moment like that because you don't feel worthy of it. But looking back, I understand that I was just someone going through something, and people were really supportive and were there for me, and it meant everything. What's important to focus on is the outpouring of love and support. It made it okay for someone they know to ask for help." Man, Demi is such a very strong, independent woman who is respected by millions of people. Her story with overcoming drug addictions and eating disorders is just very inspiring. It's very inspiring that despite all the shit that she's been through in her life, and all the struggles that she has faced in her life, she still stays strong and carries on with her life. Years ago, Demi revealed that she struggles with addiction and mental illness. In an interview she did back in 2016, she said that she had severely bad depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, self-harming impulses at the height of her career, and that as a kid she was doing shit tons of purging and self-harming. By the time she had her own Disney Channel show and toured with the Jonas Brothers, she began drinking alcohol, doing cocaine, and doing Oxycontin. And she also said, "I lived fast and I was going to die young. I didn't think I would make it to 21. Damn, man. Damn. Demi's story is just so touching and inspiring, and she deserves all the love and support that she gets, especially after all the shit that she's been through, bro." And Demi also said this in an interview back in 2016. "When I have meet and greets, I can't tell you the amount of times that girls will show me their arms covered in scars or cuts. They'll tell me, 'You helped me get through this. Because of you, I stopped self-harming,' or 'I got sober.' Hearing those things gave my life new meaning." It's just so damn awesome that because of Demi's story, many people are overcoming cutness, drug addiction, and other shitty battles that they may face in their lives. Demi is such a very great, inspiring person, but apparently some dumbasses will do all they can to try to make her look bad. Like those idiots who leaked fake-ass screenshots from her Finsta that I exposed in my last video. It's just very sad and pathetic that despite all the shit that Demi has been through, people will hate so much on her to the point where they'll post fake-ass screenshots of her to try to make her look bad. And another thing Demi said before was, "Like millions of Americans, I am living with mental illness, but I am lucky. I had the resources and support to get treatment at a top facility. Unfortunately, too many Americans from all walks of life don't get help, whether they fear the stigma or cannot afford treatment." Now, she spoke more true shit here. Demi's openness and letting so many people know of her most private struggles turned her into an inspiration for millions of people who have the exact same problems. She's even opened up about her past drug addiction in her song called Sober, which is a very beautiful song that really gets me in tears sometimes when I listen to it. In that song, she pretty much apologized to her family, fans, and herself, singing, "I'm sorry for the fans I lost, who watched me fall again. I want to be a role model, but I'm only human." Damn, these lyrics are very deep, bro. And she was 100% correct. Like, some people are seriously forgetting that celebrities are not perfect, and they make mistakes and have struggles every now and then in life, just like everybody else. Despite her problems and struggles, she built her way back into the music industry and used her fame, platform, and music as a voice for all those who suffer from things ranging from mental disorders to bullying. She stands up for what is right, no matter how much hate or memes may come along with it. Demi is one of the very last people in the music industry to allow people to change who she is. She always stays true to her beliefs and herself, and she is never afraid to speak her mind. And that's another one of the many reasons why tons of people love and respect her. She believes that we are all individually unique and that we shouldn't change for others just to fit in. Demi always tells her fans to stay strong, no matter how bad of a situation they may be going through in their life. She is pretty much a strong believer that everything will eventually get better and will work out. and it will make you become a stronger person in the process. Well, this video was me talking about why Demi Lovato is loved and respected by millions of people. I've always been very proud to be a fan of her. She is such a very strong, beautiful, independent woman who deserves all the love and support that she gets. Y'all be sure to comment down below your thoughts about Demi Lovato, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Peace out, everybody.
I turned 27, I have a new team, and Scooter Braun, my manager, gave me the best birthday cake, and I spent it with Ariana Grande, who is one of my good friends, and we just had the best birthday. And I just remember crying because I was finally eating cake with a manager that didn't need anything from me and that loved me for who I am and supported my journey. I think at some point it becomes dangerous to try to control someone's food when they're in recovery from an eating disorder.
Yeah.
Growing up, I had been bullied in school, and I felt like an outsider. I felt like an outcast. At that time, I became friends with a girl who was popular. And one day I asked her, "How do you have all these friends?" And she was like, "Well, do you party?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And she asked me, "Do you drink?" We experienced a lot of stuff together, drinking and using and growing up.
We started drinking fairly early. To me, it was like, we're just having fun. We're kids. Everyone's doing it, so we're going to too. Little did we know that there was gonna be this downward spiral.
My first time doing coke, I was 17, working on Disney Channel, and I was with a couple friends, and they introduced me to it. I was scared because my mom always told me that your heart could just burst if you do it. But I did it anyways, and I loved it. I felt out of control with the coke the first time that I did it.
At that moment, I was fully intending to drop her.
You hear about interventions or families laying ultimatums and saying you either change or you're out.
Change has to happen now.
The most important thing to Demi is losing people. It's losing people that she cares about and that loves her. That's the most important thing to Demi.
I had developed a plan where I got everybody on the team, business manager, attorneys, agents, everybody, to say, if Phil walks, we walk. This was the showdown of all showdowns.
It wasn't a matter of if they were going to leave, it was, we are leaving. There's no more that we can do for you.
I remember her crying, "Dude, what do I need to do?"
And Mike said,
"Give us your cell phone."
and I think he said, "Like now." And she picked up the plate.
She literally is grabbing this thing, smashing it, screaming, crying, in the ugly cry.
And I said, "That's not good enough."
Phil said, "Put it in the water."
And so she dunked it in the vase of water that was on the table. It's wild. This was the gateway to everything. This was the wrong people. It was drug dealers. It was a lot of the negative influences in her life were coming through the cell phone.
I think that approach worked for me because it sounds silly, but it was the beginning of the process of surrendering. At the end of the day, it was my decision.
Meanwhile, she's a judge on X Factor. She's 19 years old, and she's in her first year of sobriety.
What nobody knows is that while she was a judge, she's living in a sober apartment with roommates. She is having to do chores. She has no cell phone. She is completely and totally submitted to the process of recovery.
You really have to lean into the people that are trying to support you, like my family, like Mike and Phil. You really have to surrender because that's when the change is going to happen.
I was anorexic and then bulimic, and then I was suffering from self-harm addiction, and I knew that I couldn't go on with the lifestyle I was living and that something had to change. There was a lot of embarrassment and a lot of shame. When I went into rehab, I felt like a failure, and I felt like I had, for everybody that told me growing up, oh, you're going to be successful, but don't turn out like that one girl. I felt like I turned into that one girl, and I was like, well, I just proved everybody right that any of my haters that I was going to end up in rehab, and I just let a lot of people down. But I realized that by getting help, I wasn't letting anybody down. I was actually gaining respect from a lot of people because making that decision was very hard, but it ultimately would change my life. I noticed people do treat me differently. People I work with, they're more cautious of the workload that I have. I feel almost like I'm being treated more like a human being now, because before it was so easy to be treated like a product or someone who wasn't capable of working 17 hours in a day. It's just inhuman. And so now I feel like people know that, celebrities, musicians, actresses, actors, they're all humans, and if you push them too hard, they're going to break. So I definitely feel like people are being more respectful of, my workload and the pressures that this career can put on you.